So in a move that should surprise absolutely nobody, Microsoft decided to openly come out and say, no more attractive females in video games. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and that's right, boys and girls, Microsoft cautions developers to avoid curvy female characters. You gotta love the timeline we're living in when there are so many pressing matters and issues going on in the world, and Microsoft thinks that women that looks like this are a problem. You know, ones and zeros on screen, lines of code. So we're gonna get into this article. Before we do, hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I bring you nerdy news every day, and yeah, this was too good to pass up, despite the fact that it's just more of what we're hearing over and over. But it's nice to know that Microsoft has actually put it down in writing. Microsoft urges developers not to create female characters with exaggerated body proportions on their official site to support game devs. This is what we heard about at the GDC all week long. You got a week-long conference about how to make video games better, and then this shows up on Microsoft's website. I mean, if anything, now we know those individuals are getting listened to. We know that the Sweet Baby Inks and the Anita Sarkeesians and all these individuals for the last 10 years that have been talking about this crap, they are absolutely being listened to by higher-ups in the industry. The people you would think would want to make money, but I guess not. The site titled Product Inclusion Action: Help Customers Feel Seen. This sounds like so let's listen. Product Inclusion Action: Help Customers Feel Seen. It sounds like a bonus mission, like a side story in some sort of non-canon anime spinoff, or a side quest in a really boring video game. I don't know, it just sounds so much more epic than I'm sure they want it to sound so much more epic than it actually is. Includes a bullet list of considerations they urge developers to make when working on their product. One Twitter user pointed out language expressly condemning certain female characters as reinforcing negative gender stereotypes. How much you want to bet they're going to look at the sales numbers of Stellar Blade and just think, fuck! Like, at this point, who needs Xbox? Nobody at this point should be supporting Microsoft. You shouldn't be supporting Microsoft. You shouldn't be supporting Xbox. I get it. Some of you use Game Pass. I used to as well. I've thought about renewing my subscription. Now I don't even know if I want to give Microsoft the money. Like look at that, Microsoft. You lost yourselves a customer right here. Like, I'm going to now only focus. I'm going to explicitly focus on corporations and companies that love the exaggerated female form. Like if some game developer out there, probably in South Korea or Japan, is like, yeah, we're gonna make our character with 3 vaginas, I'm gonna be like, all in, let's do it. Let's look at some of these bullet points. Are you reinforcing any negative gender stereotypes? I like how they put negative gender stereotypes, because men are actually not excluded from this. Are you unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers into your code or design? Hold on. That's a bit hypocritical, don't you think? Unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers, when that is literally what you're doing by saying you're cautioning developers to avoid curvy female characters. Nobody cared about this. You are introducing, unnecessarily, might I add, gender stereotypes, because you're talking about busty women, which is in fact a type of woman that does exist in real life. Curvy women exist in real life. Wouldn't you think they would want to be seen and represented? Are you creating playable female characters that are equal in skill and ability to their male peers? I actually love when female characters and male characters are different, because just like in real life, men and women are different. Let's take this way back. Let's go all the way back to 1996. I know that was a while ago for some of you. I know some of you may have not even been born yet, but interesting game came out in 1996. It was called Resident Evil, and in Resident Evil, you had 2 playable characters. You had Jill Valentine, and you had Chris Redfield. One was male, one was female, and guess what? Yeah, Jill was weaker than Chris. Jill couldn't quite take hits from the zombies as well as Chris, on account of she's a female, she was a smaller build, smaller stature, and because of that, she went down easier when it came to the zombie battles. But there was a trade-off. Because of that, she got an extra weapon that you couldn't find in Chris's campaign, that being the grenade launcher. She also has the ability to pick locks, whereas Chris can't do that. Chris has to find certain keys scattered throughout the mansion. Chris, while he did not get the extra weapon, while he could not unlock keys, he had a much higher level of, of fortitude. He was able to defend himself against zombies. He could take more hits, take more licks, keep on and kicking. So, yeah, there was trade-offs. Chris also started off with just a knife, as opposed to Jill getting to start off with a gun and a knife. Like, there's reasons to play as both. Chris being the actual harder of the two to play. The game is actually easier if you choose Jill. There's a reason most speedruns use Jill, because she is an easy character to get through the game with. There's literally reasons for these characters to be different based on the fact that men are traditionally more strong, they have more physical prowess than women. Obviously not always the case, you know, I guarantee you Ronda Rousey could probably beat my ass, but in general, men are going to be stronger than women, and that's reflected in Resident Evil. That was reflected in the remake, and frankly, I doubt it's something we will ever see again. Modern Resident Evil is trash, and yeah, I imagine it'll continue to be that way, but this used to be the thing in games. This used to be the case, you know. Amy Rose was not near as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog, but she had her own capabilities, the things that made her unique. And was it because she was a woman or just because she was a different character? Does it matter? Like, is it really a big deal one way or the other? The fact of the matter is, they are different characters. You are focusing so much on the male versus female that gamers don't care about this stuff. They just want unique, fun experiences, and you are forcing your political propaganda into your games, and you wonder why you've had to lay off 18,000 people in the last 15 months. It's because of crap like this, crap that your customers don't want to think about, don't want to care about, but you are forcing into your games, and now you're making the game developers, the individuals who are working under you, going to make these games, follow these guidelines. Their products aren't going to sell, and you're going to blame the fans, or the developers are going to blame the fans, but you know you certainly aren't going to blame yourselves, and we know the developers aren't going to blame you, when that's exactly where the blame needs to go. But no, we're the ones that are going to get the shaft for these dumbass edicts. Are your female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their tasks? The stereotype of the women in the JRPGs wearing just like the chainmail bikinis and loincloths with all the other skin showing, be damned. Like, we're not allowed to have that anymore. You guys realize that it's a joke. Like, yes, it's something you see in video games all the time, and it doesn't actually matter. Nobody in real life believes that women who are wearing scantily clad outfits and they see the men all jacked up in like the nice suits of armor, like, we all know that's not real. We know it's fantasy. Do you believe so little in the human race and in your customers to not be able to separate reality from fantasy? Because, like, I played BioShock, and never once did I decide I should inject myself with a needle or something. I don't know if it's going to have heroin in it or fentanyl or whatever, but I should inject myself with a needle just to see if I can control things with my mind, because if BioShock taught me anything, it's that you should always inject needles into your arm full of a foreign substance that you know nothing about. At what point do you not, because you've got to acknowledge, you are the higher-ups at Microsoft, you have to acknowledge that people are going to call you out on this, they're going to roast you, they're going to think you're retarded. Because nobody cares about this, and I've found that the women that do care about this, the very few that there are, the very few women and male feminists that do care about this, don't actually play video games, because every female gamer I know, and I'm sure every female gamer watching this, or that if you guys are watching this and you're a male gamer and you know female gamers, they'll all say the same thing. They also prefer sexy women in their games, because women, just like men, believe it or not, like to look at a sexy figure. Do they have exaggerated body proportions? Back again. People like looking at things that are sexy. Doesn't matter if it's a male or a female. Supernatural would not have been near as good of a show if Sam and Dean were some fat slovenly sloths out there just trucking along the US in a 1967 Chevy Impala where the suspension was getting all fucked up on account of the dude's weight. Like, no, Supernatural worked because dudes liked it because it was all action heavy and it was starring some individuals that they could aspire to, and women liked it because the guys were hot. Like, it really is that simple. Men and women both enjoy looking at well-proportioned, good-looking men and women. There's nothing wrong with that. This is very common knowledge. It has always been the case amongst the entirety of the human race and human history. And when the story allows, do you show male characters who display a full range of emotions, including joy, sadness, and vulnerability? I want vulnerable Sonic in my next Sonic game. I want to see a Sonic the Hedgehog that cries, that feels, that holds, that helps, that hurts. That's what I need. In fact, I think that Cloud from Final Fantasy, he's too brooding. He's only got the one emotion. His one emotion is just sadness, or it's just emo. I want to see a Cloud that is, you know, open to all manner of happiness. He's open to being a happy-go-lucky, exaggerated individual who just sees the good in everybody and is willing to, basically, I want Cloud to be Goku. That's what I want. The rest of his character be damned. I just want Cloud to be Goku. It doesn't matter that the reason he is the way he is for a particular purpose in the story. Like, I love how they specify men here, show male characters who display full range of emotion. Meanwhile, modern female characters are written like your own weird versions of 80s action heroes. Like modern female characters, you have tried to turn into men. You have tried to force modern female characters to be stereotypical 80s male characters, and now you want the male characters to show more emotion. Like, you need to pick a lane. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. This is the most asinine request of all time. Not every character, not every game needs these deep story-driven characters. Like Dante from Devil May Cry is not the deepest character you will ever find in video games. He literally operates exclusively on the rule of cool. I do not want anything for Dante other than him operating on the rule of cool. But that's what you seem to think we would want. Otherwise, you wouldn't make this a priority. Otherwise, you wouldn't mandate this on your notations for your developing teams. This is only going to screw you in the long run, while we are going to continue to buy games like Stellar Blade from South Korea that actually cater to what we, the gamers, want, and you will only have yourselves to blame. Recently, Western game developers have been making a point to rally against objectification in games and reciting unrealistic beauty standards set by fictional characters. Most recently, Stellar... You know what? I get real fucking tired of this argument when you can bring up any cosplay. Just Google image, cosplay, insert character here, and you'll find so many sexy-ass cosplayers, male and female, doing the characters accurately. Like, what are you trying to say when you say that these are unrealistic beauty standards? No one is holding people to these standards in real life, and they are also not unrealistic as we see them accurately portrayed in real life all the time. Go to any Comic-Con. Now, granted, you're not going to enjoy the smell, but you will very much enjoy the sights. First time I laid my eyes on an accurate female Psylocke cosplayer, your boy's heart just melted. Most recently, Stellar Blade has been the subject of such criticism, despite the game's heroine being based off of a real-life model. Between Microsoft's developer site and Stellar Blade, it seems there's been a reversal of roles. In recent years, Sony's been criticized for its censorship policies after relocating its games business and units to California, also New York, if I could be wrong. Gamers have been more vigilant in recent weeks. Recent weeks following an attempted harassment campaign initiated by an employee at Sweet Baby Inc. At least they get this part right. Niche Gamer, I gotta take my hat off to you. I mean, I assumed you would get this right. You're like the bounding in the comics video games, so obviously you guys know what's really going down. But it still makes my heart skip a beat every time I hear one of these individuals, one of these corporations, one of these news sites actually portray what happened to Brutus in the Sweet Baby Inc. situation accurately. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty incredible. But yeah, for those of you guys that are, for any Xbots that I might have in my audience, I don't know there are any, because I'm gonna be real. As you guys know, I don't care about that sort of thing. I'm a PC gamer. I'm a Nintendo gamer at heart. I don't put a whole lot of stake in the console wars. I don't care about the console wars. I'm not a Sony fanboy or an Xbox. Nintendo all the way, but I game on PC. But for those of you that might have an affinity for Xbox, for those of you that might purchase Xbox games or are in bed with Microsoft, maybe this will give you pause. Maybe this will make you rethink your spending opportunities. You're going forward with your purchases, because this is an absolute destruction of the gaming culture, and this is everything that Gamergate 1 and onward we've been fighting against. And now they're just talking about openly. They're saying the quiet part out loud. They are actively making it public that they want to make video game characters ugly. And yeah, how's that worked out so far? The recent Horizon game where they made Aloy fugly. Yeah, no, gamers didn't respond to that negatively whatsoever. Guys, I gotta hear what you think about this. I have a feeling I know what you're gonna say, but who knows? Maybe you got some little nuggets and kernels of wisdom in the comments that I just, that somehow eluded me. So let me know in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm on the Nerdy News channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about video games, but I saw this article and thought, oh, this is gonna end horribly. So by all means, hit the button, check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and become a member. Join the Discord for $4.99 a month. You get to choose the articles that I go over, put videos you want me to react to and live streams in there. Also, Vital Idol, discount code. You can get yourself some money off a shirt or a mug. Rep that Words of Paradise merch, and remember, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.